3 nations, 1 war, dozens of moral dilemmas, and a game title that sounds like it came out of a geometry class. This is Triangle Strategy, Square Enix throwback to tactical RPG glory, served with political drama and pixelated flair. Let's dive in before someone starts another war over salt. And stick around to find out why this game might not be for you, even if you're a tactics fan.
Let us talk later. Now, I believe we have some lawless ruffians to rout.
If Triangle Strategy had a subtitle, it'd be Politics the Game. This isn't just swords and sorcery, it's high stakes diplomacy, betrayals, and moral grey areas so dense real life politicians are taking notes. You play as Serenoa, a young lord caught in a story of political intrigue and war on the continent of Norzelia. Centred around the conflict between the 3 nations of Glenbrook, Esfrost, and Hyzant, the story follows Serenoa, heir to House Wolfort, as he navigates a complex situation after a peace treaty between Glenbrook and Esfrost is shattered by a surprise attack. The conflict is rooted in the Salt Iron War, a past struggle for control of, well, yeah, you guessed it, salt and iron resources. The story branches based on your decisions, shaped by the scales of conviction, a system where your party votes on crucial events. Yes, democracy in your RPG, welcome to the future. The writing is decent, but fair warning, there's a lot of dialogue. We're talking Game of Thrones by way of Final Fantasy levels here. The story actually took a while to hit with me. I was a bit frustrated at the lack of gameplay in the early part of the game, and the lengthy cutscenes did nothing to alleviate the feelings of get on with it. But as time went on, the story revealed itself to be a carefully constructed bit of fiction with some real depth and character development.
Honored guests, I am Franny, Crown Prince of Glenbrook. It is an honor to welcome you to our kingdom in my father's stead.
At its heart, this is a tactics RPG through and through. Grid-based battles, unit placement, elemental terrain effects, it's all here. But what sets Triangle Strategy apart is how tight and deliberate it all feels. Every choice matters, from character positioning to whether you torch the battlefield or flood it. Battles take the form of a 3-stage setup. You have a rather lengthy piece of story to justify the next battle. You then go into the exploratory phase, which gives you the opportunity to wander around the battlefield, collect some health pellets and crafting materials, and talk to the locals and members of your team, who can give you the lowdown on some lore in the form of notes. You also get the option of visiting your hub area called the encampment. Here you can buy stuff like crafting materials and bits of armour from vendors, and you can also visit the smithy to upgrade your unit's weapons. It's then on to the main event, and this is where Triangle Strategy shines. The tactical gameplay is well thought out. You get advantages for taking your opponent's backs or getting to a high point and raining down terror from above. You can set up elaborate traps using elemental spells and items, watching with glee as enemy units walk into an oil field you've just created so you can lob a firestone into the mix never got old. There is no grinding your way through levels, you win with strategy not stats. Each character has unique abilities and battles are challenging but fair, especially on harder difficulties where positioning and synergy can mean the difference between glory and a total wipe. I had a ton of fun in combat. Going from being slaughtered to tweaking your tactics and turning the tables was extremely satisfying. In fact, I spent many hours just redoing single fights to get my perfect outcome. No one dies on my watch. To complement the action, there's a fair bit of decision making outside of combat. Triangle Strategy has its own take on democracy in the form of the scales of conviction. Your party gets to vote on your next move, and every major choice affects your story path, available characters, and even future battles. Want to avoid a war? Talk your party into diplomacy. Want revenge? Convince them to draw swords. It's like Fire Emblem met the West Wing, and it really works. Another thing you can do between battles is take on some side quests. On the world map, you have the option to go off the beaten track and enter into some extracurricular activities. These side quests can result in new units joining your squad and increasing your options on the battlefield. As with any tactical RPG, the game will live or die by its combat, and I'm happy to say Triangle Strategy nails it. so it's really disappointing that you don't get to play as much as I would have liked. Although the story is pretty good, the way it's relayed to the player can be a bind. On quite a few occasions I found myself reaching for the skip button, as multiple characters have a tendency to repeat what you've already been told but with different wording. It feels distinctly like the writers were paid by the word. As a consequence, the game's pacing feels off. However, pacing gripes aside, Triangle Strategy is a lot of fun when you actually get to play it, and scores 21 out of 25 for gameplay.
Damn it, we don't have time for this! It's not over yet.
Visually, Triangle Strategy continues Square Enix' love affair with the HD 2D visual style, and honestly it's a good look. The pixel art is beautiful, the lighting is dramatic, and the world feels richly detailed even with its minimalist 16-bit style. The battlefields vary from snowy cliffs to sun-drenched towns, and the animations during combat are punchy without being overdone. Characters are expressive despite their diminutive size, and the whole game feels like a living diorama, one where diplomacy often ends with someone on fire. It's not pushing graphical boundaries, but it doesn't need to. The game looks exactly how you remember SNES era RPGs looking, just, you know, better. Although some of you may have had your fill of pixel art, and who can blame you, it's probably been overdone at this point, but one benefit is it's pretty easy on your hardware, and Triangle Strategy is no exception. Performance was rock solid, the small scale battlefields, even with a ton of elemental effects in play, didn't falter, and overall the experience was smooth as a baby dragon scales. Graphics gets 22 out of 25.
How dare you trespass upon my home! Gone as frosty scum, or I will have your heads!
The audio in Triangle Strategy deserves a standing ovation. First off, the music. Fantastic, orchestral, grand, emotional. It sets the tone perfectly whether you're navigating a tense negotiation or flanking an enemy mage. Voice acting is a bit of a mixed bag. Some characters sound genuinely invested, while others occasionally wander into Saturday morning cartoon territory, but overall the performances do the job, and they elevate what could have been a fairly dry political plot into something more compelling. The sound design during combat is sharp too. Spells crackle, swords clash, and every action has weight. It's not flashy, but it is polished. The sound design is everything it needs to be. It complements the action and story well, and gets 22 out of 25.
With the powers in me, we will make our ideals reality.
At around the 30 to 50 hour mark for a single playthrough, and even more if you go for all the endings, Triangle Strategy offers solid bang for your buck, and with meaningful replayability thanks to branching paths and tough moral decisions, it's not just long for the sake of it, it's actually worth playing again. And you can do just that by going into New Game Plus, which carries over units, items and notes, while opening up some stuff not available to you before. There is no DLC, but frankly you don't really need it, as the package on offer is dense with content. For those of you that like to wring every last penny out of your games, the value on offer here is hard to deny. It's a chunky monkey of a game and scores 24 out of 25 for value. Triangle Strategy isn't just a nostalgia trip, it's a smart, engaging and sometimes brutal tactics game that actually trusts you to care about story and strategy. It's not afraid to make you think, both in and out of battle. Yes, it talks a lot, but it backs that up with meaningful choices, layered gameplay and a world that actually reacts to what you do. If you're into Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem or Tactics Ogre, then you're in for good times here. I think Triangle Strategy fits neatly into the overlooked gem category of games. It does have those pacing issues, the story can be relayed in an overly verbose manner. Who on earth would do such a thing? But bear with it and you will get to play one of the finest strategy games the genre has to offer. Overall, Triangle Strategy gets 89 out of 100. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, give that like button a tactical nudge, subscribe for more deep dives, and let me know in the comments, did you side with justice, liberty or utility? Stay sharp and remember, it's not betrayal if you had good reasons.